Hey, what's up, studs? Ryan here, MandRproductions, with a review of what has become a shockingly expensive LEGO Star Wars set over the last 5 or so years. It's the 75021 Republic Gunship with 1,175 pieces. When it was released in the summer of 2013, it retailed for $120 in the United States, adjusted for inflation in 2020 money. You're looking at about $130. However, that's not how much this set costs. If you want to buy this set new in box on eBay or Bricklink or something like that, you're going to be paying about $500, if not more. You know, just kind of depends. You could get lucky and get a good deal. And obviously, if you're watching this video way out in the future, the value of this could have fluctuated one way or another, although I doubt it will ever go down significantly. And that value really pains me because back in the day, I had one set, and then I actually ended up buying 2 more when they were on clearance at Target, I think probably like late 2014. And they were 50% off. So I got them for $60 each, had them. So I had 3 gunships. I opened them all, built them, and then I sold the other 2. And now it's like, well, damn, I wish I had them, right? Like, I wish I hadn't sold them. I don't know why I sold them. I don't remember what I purchased with that money. Hopefully it went to a good cause. But yeah, one of my regrettable sales in my past. The set's 7 figures are Anakin Skywalker, Padme Amidala, Obi-Wan Kenobi, a clone pilot, and clone captain, all of which are new, and then 2 Super Battle Droids to kind of oppose the set. So not too bad. Pretty spiffy box art there on Geonosis. Obviously the episode 2 style gunship. There was a previous episode 2 version as well as a Clone Wars version prior to this. You can check out this comparison video after this one. I'll have it on the end screen and link down below. The set also includes a poster inside. It looks like this. Not too shabby. Nice for your wall, I guess, and I'm sure kids loved it. Backside has some character art, shows off the features of the gunship, including a handle for the first time in a Republic gunship when this was released in 2013. So there is a UCS version of the gunship actually supposed to be releasing within the next year of me filming this review, so this will not be the final Republic gunship ever made. Don't worry about that, but currently it is just very expensive. Let's take a look at the figs. First up, we have an Anakin Skywalker minifigure, which to me is pretty goofy looking, mostly because of his hairpiece. I just do not think that hairpiece very well represents the correct color of his hair. It might not be a terrible style, but for some reason, the hair just does not hit it properly for me. He does have the green lightsaber, which is accurate to the scene that this is kind of representing. The Jedi robes look nice and everything. Even his hair braid on the torso print there is a decent addition, but again, that hair color just to me does not fit this figure and makes him look a little bit goofy, to be honest. He does have a second and much angrier face. This may be the best looking Padme Amidala we've ever seen on the bright side. Great hairpiece, got the marks on her back where the animal ripped up her shirt there and left some nice scratches. Really nice and detailed. Has the weapon going sleeveless on one side as well. Very good job, LEGO. Great attention to detail. And I'll also say the typical thing that they do on the female characters here where they kind of make the waist a little bit tighter. They've done here. They put some gray lines to kind of make it look like there's no torso there. So that's always interesting to see them do on these female characters instead of just making a mold for the female characters at this point that has a little bit of that curve to it. Seems like it would make sense that they do it so often, but for some reason they just haven't done that. And she does have a second face, but it doesn't really convey much emotion. This Obi-Wan Kenobi is pretty killer to me. I think they pretty much nailed the look. We did see one a few years later in the Jedi Starfighter with hyperdrive ring, which I think is even better than this one, but this one for 2013 is really, really good. I love the hairpiece they've got with him. His episode 2 flow is real, and unlike the face that I had on him, his second face is one that maybe shows a little bit of worry. I wouldn't even say no emotion like Padme. You can see he just looks slightly worried, in my opinion. The Clone Pilot is a figure I was always really high on for LEGO. I thought they were doing a great job with these guys until I realized that in episode 2, the Clone Pilots don't have that fin, right? Like, they're just kind of flat on the helmet there. So it is kind of interesting that LEGO is just so far off with these guys. Like, these fins aren't supposed to be on these characters. So I wish they had given it a different helmet mold than the other LEGO Star Wars Clone Troopers, but they just seem to not care about that little detail, unfortunately. He's got the small blaster, decent prints overall. Kind of the same print as like a regular trooper, except with the additional stuff on there for him being a pilot with the tubes and such. You've got the angry clone face with no second facial expression, just like every other clone trooper. Our clone trooper captain in red here is a great addition for the set, exclusive to the set, I might add, and looks great. Just kind of the same as the other LEGO Star Wars Episode 2 clone troopers from the era, and we see them in blue, green, red, like in this case, yellow, and then just regular plain white. So very nice to see the dark red in this case, and just like the pilot, like I said, every clone trooper ever got that angry clone face. I also really like the weapon they gave him, the long rifle with the Technic piece on the end. Just one of those better custom LEGO Star Wars guns that they put in the sets. And then finally, the set includes a pair of LEGO Star Wars Super Battle Droids. And while these sets aren't particularly rare or expensive, you just don't see them all too often anymore, at least in the year 2020. So seeing two in the set is a nice addition. It's a great mold and one that I think LEGO really nailed the first time around with these Super Battle Droids. So great addition for the set, just goes well into your droid army. And here is the beautiful Republic Gunship. It's got a really sleek design. They used some updated canopy pieces on this set that we didn't have on prior versions. This set really, as of now, until the UCS version comes out, is easily the best Republic Gunship that we've ever seen. It's just such a sturdier model, more well-rounded in so many places. But starting up on the front end of the set here, you have a hatch that you can actually open up, and you'll find some extra slick fire missiles in here. And, you know, these aren't super important, but it's always nice to have some extra stuff be able to be stored inside of your gunships. And in the previous version, they had done like a command center thing, so it was kind of different to have that, although I think I preferred the older thing that they had in there with the command center. Up front, you have these kind of bubble turrets. A big problem with these previously was that you could push them back and the whole thing would move back. This one has this little piece here that's actually stopping it and holding it in place, so you can actually move this really easily without the whole thing moving and then having to kind of adjust it in a way. So they really fixed up the design on the front end of the gunship in that way. I also really like the green color that they use here. I think it's pretty perfect for the gunship, and they did so many small details here with the cheese slopes to get the angles just so perfect, in my opinion, for this gunship on the front and on the side as well. You can see some inverted bricks here, just kind of creating those angles, and it actually worked out really well for the front end of this gunship. I still don't love the flap on the front here, because if you push it in all the way, it looks weird, but you can just pull it out so it's straight, and then it looks a little bit better, but still, it's maybe one of the weakest points of this gunship. Moving into the aforementioned cockpits, we have the bubble canopy pieces here, which are really good and really clean looking, more so than the previous versions again. And there is a control panel sticker on both the front and back cockpit seats, so that's a nice detail, although not something I particularly care about as someone who's really just going to display something like this. You'll also find LEGO use the tile and stud technique for the seating area so that the legs are less prone to getting stuck. You can fit the pilot in very easily and sit him back. You have your canopy drop down, and there is enough headroom there. Unfortunately, they don't include like a second co-pilot, so you do on the box, I think, have like Obi-Wan in there, but I'm not going to put him in there. I think that's kind of dumb. I wish they hadn't done that. I wish they had included an extra pilot. LEGO rarely fills out sets like this, and it's a bit of a shame that we don't have a second pilot in this set to fill in that space. We have another small troop bay area here, and on the box it shows Padme kind of hanging off the side here, and obviously she will eventually fall off onto the sand below, so you can kind of have her do that and fall off the side, but that is a nice spot there, very open and spacious. I would say as spacious as you can have it there, and you can fit quite a few troops in the middle section here as well. And if you look closely, there's actually an archway there, and that is actually a spot where you can actually move through the two compartments, although I don't find it to be useful at all. It's just kind of there for show, and it makes the area feel a little bit more spacious. The side of the gunship is adequately detailed. I really love some of these yellow stickers. I think they actually add a lot of character to this set. Otherwise, it would just be like this white slate. I like that it kind of breaks up the design. Moving above the larger troop bay in the back, you'll notice some compartments above it. You can store things in here, although I currently don't have anything in there. That is something nice that we've seen on other gunships in the past, and we see return here. Now, you'll notice there are some laser cannons here on the side, and those can pop right on out the side of the gunship, which is awesome to see. Unfortunately, we don't really have enough troopers in this set to man all these turrets. There There was a battle pack available at the time, so you could get more troopers to man these turrets, but again, they were not included in the set, which to me is always a bit of a shame. But you can get a trooper on there and close everything up somewhat easily, and they don't look half bad in there. I don't think it's the greatest design, and I hope that if they ever do revisit the Republic Gunship in a playscale like this that's supposed to have minifigures in this little bubble turret, that they've figured out a slightly better solution, because you can see I actually had to put the fin of the clone trooper into this piece here just to get it to fit. Like, it's a very tight fit, so it would be interesting to see if they have a better solution now 7 years later, but currently this is kind of what you're working with. I really love that it does swing in and out of the bay of the gunship, so that when you do have them out, you actually do have substantially more interior space as well. And the set is symmetric, so you do have the same turret on the other side, and it's quite the look when you have them both out. The doors for the troop bay can open and close with ease. They only cover like half of it because the other half obviously has to be open for your laser turret, but there is a considerable amount of space inside to go ahead and place troops down. I kind of find it unfortunate that they use part of that space and tile it up. I think it actually does look good, but it does kind of reduce the amount of characters you can actually fit inside of your gunship. On the flip side of that, you could easily modify the set, which is something people commonly do with Republic gunships. Closing the door up just as easily, nice and detailed like we've seen on previous Republic gunships. The back side of the gunship has a bubble turret on top here. You can kind of shoot at your foe trying to chase you down from the back. And there's another panel here that we can pull down, releasing a speeder bike like that. It's a nice small speeder bike design, not one that I'm crazy about, but it's a very cool inclusion in the set. Not as crazy as the one that we saw in the 2008 version, but still a nice little speeder bike. It actually fits very cozily up into the gunship here, and obviously you could put a figure on it if you wanted to. So we'll close that up like that. And again, it's like it's not even there as far as I'm concerned, so I actually do really appreciate that. The wings do have little cannon turret things as well. I'll say about this though, it's kind of inaccurate. This doesn't exist in the actual Star Wars movies or TV shows. They don't typically hold minifigures like this. It's supposed to just be kind of a flat area. That being said, prior to me knowing that, I thought it was an excellent feature, and I still do. I stand by that. It has a nice stickered control panel, actually very detailed there, but you can fit a character inside of there and close it up, and just like that, you have extra space for even more minifigures like that. And I actually think that works out rather nicely. You can see the area where the figure goes under here so that they have space to actually sit. So a very nice and still like low profile spot there. It doesn't bulge out too much to where it's distracting, and it actually creates a nice additional feature, especially for kids that want to play with it. The engines on top are great looking, a great sticker there as well to help kind of bring everything together on the wing as far as the coloring and adding more detail there. And then maybe one of my favorite flick fire missile incorporations ever is on the top of this with the 8 flick fire missiles. And again, you have the extra in this first compartment of the gunship here. If you actually lose some or just run out and you want to reload on the go, you have 8 here, and you can flick them off like so very easily. You know how flick fire missiles work. And there's another small compartment in the back here which you can actually fit like weapons and things in and close up like that. It's actually a nice and smoothed out area. I really like these pieces they use to build that. So very nice little back end of the gunship there. But that's pretty much everything the gunship has to offer, other than maybe the best thing the gunship has to offer, and that is its handle. The handle, this was the first time the handle was ever on a Republic gunship, and it makes picking up a gunship so much easier and so much safer than ever before. It is unfathomably great. It is what I think singularly makes this set leaps and bounds better than the previous versions of the Republic gunship. I think the other gunships are really good sets, but this feature here is the killer feature. Having a handle, having a way to pick up the set and not worry about the entire set breaking in your hands like you do with the other two versions is a game changer. And LEGO really did bring that to the table with this set, and it was wonderful. Obviously built in with kind of a Technic design to the set so that it can support that type of feature, but it's wonderful. I'm so glad they were able to get it into the set. It makes the swooshability on this awesome. It's a strong design. You don't have to worry about it. I will say you do have to hold on. You can't just have one finger here because it will slip slip off of your hand like that. And obviously I had it just barely above the table, so nothing broke. But you can imagine if you were to drop that from 3 or 4 feet, that would be a major problem. So you're really going to want to grab around that tight and not want to let go, because if you let go, yeah, I mean, there's nothing that can save you there. Overall, this set is, for me, like a 9.5 out of 10. I'm sure some of you guys, this may be your favorite LEGO Star Wars set ever, and it's a killer set. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. It is really good. I just find that maybe there could have been 1 or 2 extra regular clones. These larger LEGO Star Wars sets have recently really been selling you short on minifigs like that. And I don't think that this minifigure selection is inadequate. I just think it's inadequate. He could have included like 2 regular clones. Like, why not? It just doesn't make sense in a lot of cases like this to me, why you can't throw in a couple more for an already pretty expensive set. Albeit, I'll say this set is pretty fairly priced, or was at that $120. Obviously now, going for about $500 new in the box, I'm gonna say stay away. Why would you spend that much money on this? There is an Ultimate Collector Series Republic Gunship coming in 2021, and you should buy that instead for most likely less money. I can't imagine the UCS Republic Gunship would cost $500 or more, so you'll be getting a much bigger set for that money and something more displayable and such. But if this is your set, if this is your white whale, I can't tell you no, obviously, but it's going to cost you a pretty penny, and there is no way around that. You're not getting this one for cheap. But overall, for me, 9.5 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think about this beauty in the comments section below. If you guys did enjoy, a like is always appreciated. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to those future LEGO videos, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.